Thank you and welcome to the Legal Table. I am your host, Crystal Jamerson, and I'm the Community Engagement and Outreach Coordinator for Legal Services of Northwest Minnesota. The Legal Table was created to educate you on your rights and responsibilities, along with introduce you to community organizations that have resources to help you along the way. Today, we are here to address advanced directives for Minnesota. The two most common are the power of attorney and the healthcare directives. These help you to make informed decisions about your future, ensuring that both your personal assets and medical care are managed according to your wishes. These directives, they empower you to appoint trusted individuals to handle your financial affairs and make healthcare decisions on behalf if you were to become incapacitated. One thing that I wanted to note is that this is a wonderful way to provide a peace of mind for your clients, to your family, and to yourself. This is not something that is specifically only for seniors, but this is definitely two documents that every senior should definitely have. Presently, we're trying to make sure that the people in our counties that we serve are aware of their options and the resources available for its community members. As you may know, Legal Services of Northwest Minnesota, we serve 22 counties and we have 3 offices in the area where we assist clients navigating the justice system and provide services for low-income individuals with their civil legal needs. Outside of providing full representation for a client, we have legal kiosks in 87 locations in our service area that provide assistance with virtual courts and legal documents. We have a justice bus, our mobile clinic that allows us to go into the communities where transportation is limited, and we provide legal assistance there. We also have self-help clinics to assist with the do-it-yourself court forms. And we hope to bring you more information on civil legal topics throughout the year. So make sure you continue to join us and pass along the information along to coworkers and clients. With that being said, I want to introduce you to our guest today. We have Joy Mickles from Legal Services of Northwest Minnesota. And we also have 2 special guests from Dancing Sky Area Agency on Aging. And I will make sure that they introduce themselves and what area of Dancing Sky that they are from as well. We have Jane Stumbo and Val Matson, both with unique roles, so I'll let them make sure to introduce themselves. Real quick, just a few housekeeping rules. Please make sure to put all questions in the chat and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. Also, this is a quick hour-long meeting, so if you would like more information, each panelist will have their info listed at the end of the meeting. This meeting will also be available on YouTube channel by the end of the week, so if you have some coworkers that were unable to make it, please make sure to check out our channel, and I'll put that in the chat. What's awesome now is we are applying for CLE credits for this course. So if you are a legal attorney and you would like the credits, you will get an email about the event code afterwards. So without further ado, let's turn the mic over to Joy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joy Mickles, Legal Services of Northwest Minnesota. I am going to try to get my presentation up. Give me one moment. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Good. Okay. So advanced directives, the one thing that we all need to think of is that they need to be done when someone still has capacity. A lot of clients, when they come to me, they say, what if someone's been diagnosed with, let's say, Alzheimer's or something else where maybe there's a question of whether or not they still have capacity. Capacity is fluid. And I think that's one thing we need to remember as we go forward is just because someone has been diagnosed does not mean that it's too late to enter into one of these advanced directives. As a caregiver, as a family member, you know when someone's having a good day, and if someone's having a good day, they can still enter into an advanced directive. Best practice is to do this sooner, rather before you have a diagnosis, but it's not too late. If someone's having a good day, capacity is fluid, and it is still possible to enter into one of these advanced directives. So what are these 2 documents we're going to talk about today? The healthcare directive. This is for when a person is no longer has the capacity to say, this is what I want done for my medical decisions. This is a tool to say, this is what I want to happen when I can no longer tell you what I want to happen. Power of attorney, it's going to be a sharing document where you're going to share powers for money and for property with another individual. They're both alike because they're both created through state law, and there's going to be legal requirements that you have to comply with for them to be valid documents. So the first document we're going to talk about is going to be that healthcare directive. I am a visual person, so as we go forward, we're going to look at the healthcare directive together as we talk about it. And everybody can see my screen again? We're good? Okay. So as we're looking at this document, I apologize, it's at the end of it. So you can find this document on lawhelpmn.org. And I think this document's really great because it's pretty user-friendly. As an attorney, you're probably not going to hear this very often, but I think this is a document where you really don't need an attorney to complete for you. If you feel comfortable enough, this is a document, and the same with the power of attorney, where you can do it on your own. You're going to see the first thing that the healthcare directive is going to ask is for you to name a healthcare agent. So as you look at this document, just remember that you're going to see a part 1 and a part 2. You don't have to complete part 1 and you don't have to complete part 2. But what you need to remember is that if you choose not to name a healthcare agent and complete part 1 or not to do part 2, then you have to do the opposite part. You can't leave both blank, and you can do both part 1 and part 2. So when you look at part 1, the naming a healthcare agent, just be mindful that when you're choosing who's going to be your healthcare agent, to talk to this person, make sure that they're comfortable being a healthcare agent, because not everyone's going to want to be your agent. After you figure out who you want to be your agent, you're going to see that you're going to have lots of options of what you want to give to your agent and what you want them to be able to do for you. As you look at the next page, you're going to see that these choices allow you to choose whether or not you give that person A, B, C, or D, or just one of those. That's the great thing about this document is you remain in control of what you're allowing your healthcare agent to do for you in the future when you don't have a voice. Now, as we move on to part 2, you're going to see that this is your healthcare instructions. And again, with part 2, you only have to fill this out if you choose not to have an agent. And you can fill out part 2 if you filled out an agent, but that's your choice. Now, I know for a lot of people, when you look at part 2, it's kind of intimidating to see that there's so many blank spaces. But remember that it's still valid if you leave the majority of these blank. It's up to you what you want to fill out and what you don't want to fill out. You're going to have the option to fill out what your beliefs are about your values and your healthcare, so you can tell others what you want done. You're going to have the option to tell others that this is what I want and do not want for my healthcare. And then you're going to see that you can tell them that these are the things I want and do not want for my healthcare if possible. And then finally, we're going to go on to part 3, and that's what you have to do to make the document legal. So as we're looking at what you have to do to make this document legal, it's important to remember that you have the option to just go to a notary and sign it in front of a notary, and then it'll be legal. Or you can sign it in front of 2 witnesses. These witnesses must be over 18 years of age, and they cannot be a healthcare agent. And if they're a healthcare provider, the provider is going to have to initial whether or not they give you direct care. Now, I always tell clients to make sure that you give your agent a copy of this, make sure to talk about this with your provider and make sure that they're okay with what your wishes are, and to give a copy to your provider so that if it's ever needed, that they can find it. Next, we're going to talk about the power of attorney. So we're back. Can you guys see the slideshow again?
I can see it says healthcare directive.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So as we're talking about the power of attorney, just remember that the power of attorney is for finances and for property. And the power of attorney, unlike the healthcare directive, is not only valid when a person becomes incapacitated, you can have it become valid even when you still have capacity and you want to just share and have some extra help with things. And just like with the healthcare directive, I'm going to show you a copy of a power of attorney that you can find on our the Minnesota MN Law Help website. One moment. I apologize.
While Joy is finding that, if you do have any questions, please make sure to put it in the chat. It'll be listed on the right-hand side, or you can find the button on the bottom, and then you can go ahead and put your questions. We'll answer those at the end.
So as we're looking at this document, you'll see that what you are called is the principal is the person who's sharing that power, is giving the power to another person. And who you're giving that to is your attorney in fact. And I always tell clients to be mindful that when you are choosing this person, one of the pitfalls of kind of a power of attorney is you don't have the court who's watching over it. So I think we all have that one person in your family who you love a lot, but are you going to give that person access to your bank account? No. So just be careful of that this person has to be someone that you trust, because a court's not going to be watching over. And sometimes what we do in those situations is maybe you're going to pick two people to be your attorney in fact. But if you're going to pick two people to be your attorney in fact, also be mindful, is this going to work the best? Do these people live in the same town? If you're going to have two people, you're also going to have the choice to decide whether or not they have to work together, or whether they have the ability to exercise their powers independently. Then you're also going to have the choice of whether or not you want to have successors listed in your attorney in fact. That is sometimes nice, because if someone were to die, let's say your attorney in fact dies, you can just use your successor and not have to redo the whole document. Sometimes people will put in an expiration date, and that is always good if you're going to have a surgery, et cetera, where you just want a power of attorney for maybe, let's say, 4 months. If you don't have an expiration date, it is going to just end at, it's not going to have an end date, and it's just going to keep going. The next thing you're going to see is that you're going to have the option to choose what powers you're going to give to your attorney in fact. You have all these options. If you want to give all the options to your attorney in fact, you're going to select N. Then next, you're going to have the option to choose whether or not your attorney and power of attorney is going to be effective if you become incapacitated. Next, you're going to see that you're going to have the option to choose whether or not your attorney in fact can make gifts to themselves. And then finally, you're going to see whether or not you're going to make your attorney in fact have to give you an accounting record each year, which kind of is another tool in place to make sure that everything is legitimate and that there's no fraud going on, just because you are allowing a person to have access to potentially your finances. Finally, to make this document valid, you have to execute it with a notary. You're going to see at the end of this that you're going to be given important notices to the principal. And then also the attorney in fact is also going to be given important notices. The best practice that we like to use is that you give a copy to the attorney in fact, and you give a copy to the principal. I always tell clients, we also give out a revocation of the power of attorney, which you can find on the Law Help MN website. If you are going to revoke a power of attorney, always make sure that you give a copy of that revocation to any business that you gave a copy of that power of attorney, so that they know that that attorney in fact no longer has the authority to act on your behalf. As we talked about potential problems with a power of attorney, I just want people to be mindful to remember that one of the biggest things you need to be mindful of is that this needs to be a person that you trust, because nobody is watching them. And as I said earlier, you are able to find these documents on Law Help MN. And I just always tell people that I always think it's a really good idea to think about what you want for your healthcare decisions, and whether you want someone to help you potentially with finances and property. Because if you become incapacitated and you don't have a healthcare directive, the hospital is going to look to your next of kin. And sometimes that puts kids or your loved ones in a bad situation. Let's say you're in a car accident and one child thinks, hey, mom said that if she's ever in a car accident, she doesn't want to have any devices helping her breathe. And another kid says, mom says, I want to be kept alive on these devices. And it kind of puts both kids in a situation where nobody knows what mom's voice really is. And the healthcare directive allows your voice to be heard. And with the power of attorney, if you don't have that and you don't have things set up so things are getting paid, they might look at doing a guardianship. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. That is that is awesome. One thing that I remember, and it kind of what always sticks with me, is that I was looking at a case where there was a lady that was in a nursing home, and what had happened with her is that she was going to have to be moved. And the nearest place that she was going to have to be moved at was going to be like somewhere near Minneapolis. And she still had a husband that was in the same local community that was able to come and visit her, and her kids were able to come visit her. Um, but had it not been that she had a power of attorney, healthcare directive in place, they would have automatically moved her somewhere that was going to be far away. So because she had those in place, the family was able to fight for her wishes to be able to stay within that community. And we were able to help them to be able to stay at the nursing home until they were able to find something that was in a closer distance instead of them moving her so far away. I think it's amazing, and that's something that will continuously stick with me for a long time because the power of attorney and healthcare directive is that important, especially for our seniors. Thank you so much, Joy. We're going to go ahead, and there are some questions that are popping up, really great questions, and we're going to answer those at the end here. The next person that we have up is Jane from Dancing Sky Area on Aging. And Jane, if you want to kind of let us know a little bit about yourself and kind of what you do there, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Jane Stumbo, and I've worked for the and the Dancing Sky Area Agency for 7 years. My master's degree is in gerontology, and the other one is in public administration. I've worked in the field of aging for.
Oh, that's okay. So what we'll do is, I'm sure she's probably going to restart her system. We do have Val from Dancing Sky that is here. And I just want to tell you that Val has been somebody that I have been working with lately. Absolutely love Dancing Sky. It's a great, great organization. And so I'm glad that we were able to have two people on today to be able to talk about the different departments and the different things that they services and programs that they offer. So Val, if you would like to maybe go ahead and start, and then if Jane comes on, we can just kind of put her in after you're done with your presentation. Is that okay with you?
Sure. If she's
All
having
right.
Wi-Fi problems, maybe just have her turn her camera off too, sometimes also. So
Perfect. I'll let her know
Anyway.
quick.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Val Matson from the Dancing Sky Area Agency on Aging. I have been with the Dancing Sky for, I think I'm going on 13 years here. I started out in the senior linkage line end of side of it on pre-admission screening and transitioned over to the development side of it, program developer. The Dancing Sky is one of 7 area agencies on aging in the state of Minnesota. Our area agency on aging is located in Warren. And we service 21 counties in Northwest, West Central Minnesota, all the way down to Alexandria, way up to Canada. So we have a wide range of counties that we serve. But today, now I want to talk about, as I get going here, I want to get going so Jane has some time also. And for the senior linkage line side of it, they are more one-on-one with individuals, where we are the development side of it. I am the development side. And what our goal is to, we work with providers to develop services, expand existing services for older adults and their caregivers. We also provide ongoing support and technical assistance to providers and work with communities to increase awareness with Alzheimer's and dementia care. And we also provide educational opportunities and train communities, community leaders in evidence-based programs, like say for one of them would be a matter of balance, for example. Now I'm going to see if I can share my screen, if you can see this. Do you see that?
Yep, we're good to go.
Wonderful. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the file. And this file is a specific tool to keep us organized and ready for all of our important documents. Like Joy just talked about, the healthcare directive, the power of attorney, we're going to talk about a little bit about that, how that fits into this file. financial. My job thinking about where they keep their paperwork, where it's at. A file presentation. And we'll talk. I only have about 10 minutes. My presentation is usually about a half an hour to 45 minutes by the time I talk about everything regarding this file. So, and if you do go, I'm going to just kind of show you, you'll get a yellow manila folder. Tool does not replace legal documents, nor is intended to hold all your papers. Rather, it is a tool to indicate where important documents are located, because we know all things can be scattered all over, and we know that these papers should be kept in a secure location. As we get started, we're going to talk about the summary of this record. Is the file stands for financial information, investments and insurance, legal documents, and estate management. And this is concerning the estate of you who completes this file. And the date it can be completed is probably good to keep it updated. And this is intended to provide your family or close friend one centralized place for information on your death or an emergency, because you never know an emergency, a stroke, say you're unable to speak, an accident or fall. Will someone know where all your important documents are? Why this is so passionate to me is my dad passed away a couple years ago, very unexpectedly. My mom is very organized, worked in a local bank for a number of years. And we just thought, okay, everything's going to be in one place. It's my sister and I. We went over there. Okay, all this information is here. Oh, no, it's not. She said, I have some here. I have some here. I have some in the bedroom. I have some upstairs. You know, she had the information, but we would have never known if something were to happen to her, because my dad was not really as OCD as my mom was, I should say. But so it was a tool that I remember that we had. And as soon as things settled down a little bit, we started utilizing this tool, and it helped us immensely through this difficult time. So we're going to go inside, we're going to go kind of through this kind of rather quickly. This information is about you. You're going to see that information is also about a spouse or a particular someone else that may live with you, but this information is about you. And as you can see, as we go through also, that there is not much places in here to write. So what we recommend, that this is just a guide. What we did is we took a piece of paper and we wrote down exactly where things were. So, for example, it says on here, social security number, date of birth. What you can do is write down where that social security card is. Where is that birth certificate? Where's your marriage certificate? If your spouse has died, where is the death certificate? So this is what this would be on this piece of paper. And then it's easier to change, and life happens and things change. So you can update that more easily than versus trying to erase this or try to figure this out or trying to find another file again. And this is information, again, just on you. If you have a spouse that is with you and that lives with you, that you want to fill out something for them also, either you can take another piece of paper, use it as a guide, or get another file. That's awesome. That's something you can do also. Information about your children. Why is that important? We had someone at one of my presentations says, why do I need to worry about my children? And I said, say if something happened to your adult children and you had to figure out, okay, what's their social security number? Do you know that off the top of your head? Where is their birth certificate? Do they have a life insurance policy? So here's something for them, for you to fill out for them. I mean, from information from them that you know where the location is of that information. And who are your advisors? Your advisors are, they will change also. So what we recommend is that you put the location of where their facility is, the bank, what bank do you go to, what doctor you do go to. You don't really necessarily need to know the doctor, but they'll figure out if you put the hospital or the clinic location on their healthcare facility. Accountant, same thing. And your assets. The reason would be for your assets is when we were doing this for my mom, for example, my dad had toys. I call them toys. Are these toys paid off? Where are the titles for these toys? Where are the titles for the house? Is the house paid off? Where's the CDs, life insurance, retirement plans? As we say, put this information in here. Put the information in here. Don't necessarily put the exact description of that. You can just put the location of where that information is located, and where, if it's in this, and if it's in the deposit box, where are the keys to that deposit box? Miscellaneous information. This is what I find is really interesting too, is all of these things. And there's a lot of things that you'll, as you're going through this, that you'll find that you'll maybe add to this. For example, Joy was talking about your healthcare directive. Give signed copies to the doctor, healthcare team, like she said, and anyone else that you want to know about your healthcare wishes. But keep the original in your home. And where would that original be? Write that down where that original is. Power of attorney, same thing. Be kept in a secure location and put where that location is located. Another thing that's not on here that I think that should be on the miscellaneous information is passwords. We had someone at one of my presentations say that they had a password for their computer and that they have told that to somebody else, which is, you know, you need to do that. Password for your phone, for example. Her husband passed away and she wanted her husband's phone. She wasn't able to take her husband's phone because she didn't know the password in order to utilize that phone. And the cell phone company would not give her that right because she did not have that legal right into his phone. She was not on his bill. So it's very, very crucial that you know the passwords of these, and especially too, if you're going to put this information on a piece of paper and you're going to keep that piece of paper within the computer, that you have someone know where this information is in your computer system. And it's very easy to update. The back of the folder would be survivors. What would you do? And now this was just an awesome tool for us also. For instance, it had veterans on there. My dad was a veteran. We didn't even think about that. He had burial benefits. So we called veteran service. Sure enough, he had burial benefits for him. And we just checked it off, what we needed to do and what pallbearers. And even if you don't have them, I mean, it's a great tool to start thinking about who do you want for pallbearers. It's time. It's just of the essence. And another thing that we found very good too is at the very bottom, who's doing all this? Whose obligations is this? Because it was, for me, it's just my sister and I and our family, and who was doing what. Well, I thought she was doing it. She thought I was doing it. So now we just checked off, and we actually wrote who was doing what when it came to this time and to have to do these things. I kind of ran through this very quickly, but like I said, when I do the presentation, it gets to be a little bit longer than that. And we could do a little bit more detailed in this form, but it is a vital tool to have. And it's important to have some guidance as we go through these things, because when we go through deaths, emergencies, it's hard to have that process as to what needs to be done. And the timeline is always so short. It's an awesome gift. This needs to be updated. It's just not a one and done thing. We recommend that you update it at least twice a year, once a year if need be. And this is a lot to fill out. You don't think it is, but once you start, it's a lot to fill out. It's like you open Pandora's box almost. And what we recommend is that you just take this in chunks. It's like an elephant. How do you eat an elephant? Little by little. So you just take it in chunks, but have a date to get this done. Have a deadline date. And since the holidays are coming up, this is a great time to sit down and talk to the kids, talk to whomever you're going to be entrusting this information with. What a gift. If we would have had this before this happened with my dad, it would have been a gift. And be comfortable talking about these topics, including death. Does it not make sense to plan for something that'll happen to everyone? So thank you.
Thank you so much, Val. When I first heard about this file presentation, I thought, oh my goodness, this is something that everybody needs to know. I mean, me being a parent, if something were to happen to me right now,
Exactly.
My kids, they're not over 21. They wouldn't know where to go in the house to
Right.
be able to find this information to give to somebody to help out. So I think that this is very beneficial for everybody. There are a couple of questions that came in for you as well, Val. And we're going to try to hold all the questions till the end, and then we'll just have a question answer series. But thank you so much for sharing this. This is huge. This is so huge, and every household absolutely needs to have this in here. For our next guest, we have Jane back. So thank you so much for coming back in, Jane. Jane, if something happens with the Wi-Fi or anything like that, feel free to turn off your video and maybe just do regular speaking. Maybe that might help too. I know sometimes Wi-Fi connections can, be a little tricky. So um, definitely go ahead and share your screen whenever you're ready.
So can you see the screen then? We're good.
Yes.
So
Yes, we're good to go.
The senior linkage line in the state of Minnesota is a free service of the Minnesota Board on Aging and partnerships with Minnesota area agencies on aging. There are 6 senior linkage line contact centers across the state that offer help through the phone and in person. So the staff and volunteers can help explore the options, like local options such as transportation, housekeeping, home delivered meals, grocery delivery, housing, caregiver support, financial assistance, prescription drug assistance, Medicare, and more. The Senior Linkage Line can assist people with comparing their choices available in the community to meet their needs. And the Senior Linkage Line also receives and processes pre-admission screenings. So I am a resource coordinator among many across the state of Minnesota at the Senior Linkage Line. The Dancing Sky Area Agency on Aging. We serve the 21 Northwest counties in Minnesota. So the resource coordinators assist older adults to remain in their home or help people who discharge from a facility back to the community, home with family, home, or to an assisted living. So we provide ongoing follow-up and support to family members and their caregivers. So this is considered the in-person service in the Senior Linkage Line, although we do much of it over the phone. And the face-to-face is by case-to-case basis. We look at what the person needs. We talk to family and caregivers as the person that's referred to allows, because they give us permission or not. Every person has the right to live at home and live in the setting of their choice. When we assist older adults to remain in their homes or return home from a facility, we provide this free in-depth support and follow-up. Our ongoing follow-ups help promote long-term success in remaining in the community. Our support is also provided to family members and caregivers. The primary focus of the resource coordinators is a person 60 and older in their own home or in a facility and wanting to return home. They are not on medical assistance. And although if they are pending medical assistance, if they're thinking about applying for medical assistance, we can still help them. It's once they're on medical assistance with a case manager that we no longer can help them, because that's 2 public programs. So we provide referrals are provided through the profile list. That is when care facilities will put through a referral through the pre-admission screening. So that comes to us. It is dispersed to a resource coordinator. And then we, some older adults, they refer themselves. And then there's the senior linkage line referrals, which come from staff at the senior linkage line who see that a person needs more assistance. So this is about the resource coordinator profile list. It's for people age 60 and older that pay privately in a care facility. There are specific case mixes that it falls under, and they give their consent in the PAS. That giving consent is really important, and I'm going to explain that a little bit more. So the profile list is created through the pre-admission screening, and then the nursing home staff will go through some questions with the person. And the importance is that they ask the person if they want to be contacted by the senior linkage line to help them live outside of the facility. So when we get to the referral, they talk about the person's current status, what their discharge goals are, and we get the direct contact for that person and any other relevant details. So who can make a referral for services, for resource coordination and in-person services? The individual can make it. A provider can make it. So for example, nursing home staff, home health care, hospital discharge planner, among almost any professional. You see here on this screen, this is the link to our referral site. And when you're making a referral to the in-person, it's this green button right here that you hit. These other two are exactly what they say. So the providers can make it, a family caregiver can make it. So a son, a daughter, anybody who's helping a spouse, family and friends, or maybe they have just a neighbor who, you know, looks out for them once in a while and is concerned. So the types of referrals we get, we kind of covered that a little bit. It's if a person's at the nursing home and wants to return to the community and would benefit from follow-along services and has a minimal support system. So that type of person, there's many people that fall into the category of maybe a person that would need this kind of help. I think if you're in question, go ahead and refer, and then we can contact the person. So the MDS is filled out at the nursing home, the minimum data set. And this is the question that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Do you want to talk to somebody about the possibility of leaving this facility and returning to live and receive services in the community? So when they say yes to that, then it allows that referral to come to us and it be transferred to a resource coordinator. So if the person is on medical assistance, the contact person is the case manager at the county. So once the referral comes to the resource coordinator, we visit or call the person. Most often it's a phone call in the beginning. We look at and discuss what services, what the in-person services are, what the senior linkage line can do. Then if the person decides that they would like services, we complete an assessment. We create a support plan. So the support plan is a personalized listing of resources according to their needs. So for example, we saw some of the needs earlier, like transportation and maybe homemaking or a personal emergency response button. Each person's support plan is different and unique to them. And also we cover the different cities and counties. So the resources are different in each area. So that is helpful not only when the person goes home from the nursing home, but when the person is at home and they're just trying to maintain and remain at home. So sometimes that could involve things like more safety in their home or different services. So, then after that, there's we go over the support plan, and that starts the person either is discharged to the community or they're at home, and that starts the follow-up schedule. So we usually follow up between about 4 times in the first 90 days, sometimes 5. That's scheduled follow-ups. So we check in and kind of make sure that things are going okay and help them navigate if they aren't. So in that comprehensive plan, we talk about these different areas. We do that assessment, and that really tells us all about the person. So we talk about how they get along with their activities of daily living and things like that. So we explain about setting up like home health care. Sometimes that's set up by the nursing home in the beginning because Medicare covers it, but later they might still need help and that they have to pay privately. So we put on the support plan the costs of things as much as possible. So, and we look at things like veterans benefits and long-term care insurance for other places that might help support them both in terms of services and financing what they need. Whoops, sorry. So after we review that support plan, and I guess it's really important to say that we always try to contact the person first because they have the choice of who they want in their kind of care community and who they want supporting them. And maybe they already have their spouse and their son and different people. So sometimes they're a part of like providing some of this, but also some formal services. So an example of a potential case, and this is really quite common, is Mary is at a skilled nursing facility and she's there for therapy because of a fall that resulted in a fracture. Her goal is to return home, and she has had previous falls in her bathroom at home and is interested in modification to make the bathroom safer. She also has stairs to enter her home that are difficult for her. Mary is interested in the assistance in finding ways to make her home safer and more accessible, and potential financial assistance options following up after discharge and the follow-up after discharge. So that's a pretty common scenario, is falls and those kind of things that land people in a long-term care or swing bed transitional care unit. John is another example. He is discharging home, and home health is recommended: housekeeping, meals, transportation. He does not qualify for the covered services under Medicare, and so he would have to pay privately. John wants to try to return home without services, but is receptive to the follow-ups. And so he's wanting to return home and get those follow-ups and help reevaluate his needs. So that happens often where, that happens more frequently than people would think, is that sometimes people don't go home with any services or have very few. And then our in-person services helps them as they go home to look at the things that are working and not working, that kind of thing, so that we can kind of move things forward to help them be successful. The last case scenario is about Sam. He is struggling to stay at home, and he would like some help looking at options, including assisted living versus going home with home health care services. He doesn't understand all the costs or what programs he might qualify for to help him pay for it. So that is our senior linkage line in-person services. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jane. I didn't know of all the different services that you had, and, I've gone onto the website to try to find what, we would be able to use at Legal Services to send over as referrals. So I'm really glad you're able to kind of give us a really good explanation of what we're able to do. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We have some
one quick thing I just want to let you know in relation to this topic. Every once in a while, we have to hand out one of those. Because people don't often plan ahead. There's people that don't plan ahead, and we do talk about that. So it relates to the topic we've been talking about today.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that any type of resources that you are able to give to one of your elders is going to be important, whether it be the power of attorneys, healthcare directives, whether they know that they can actually get other different resources and referrals from the senior linkage line, have all of their documents together. It is collectively a very important documents and information to have. So I'm so glad that everybody was able to be on. So thank you for that. There are some questions that came in. I want to make sure that we have some time for questions really quick, if that's okay. Let's see. I know that there was some questions that kind of came in the chat and some people are answering them, but just to make sure, just in case anyone had any other questions in regards to that, we can get that taken care of. The first question that came in, let's see, and I just wanted to know, just to make sure that was taken care of. It was for Joy, and said, what do you advise clients to do should a financial institution refuse to recognize a POA? And not everybody, like when they watch this next, will be able to see the chat. So I just want to make sure that those answers are answered verbally if you can.
Sure. I mean, if it's legally executed, they should not be denying person access or being denying someone helping another person as someone's attorney in fact. So if they are, then I think that probably creates a legal issue. And I would say call us at our intake number and have that individual do an intake and talk to an attorney. Because if you legally execute a power of attorney, there should not be a reason why a financial institution is not allowing the attorney in fact to help the principal.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. We had a question come in for, let's see, for Val. And it said, is the file document located at, and I believe it's supposed to be for Law Help MN, or actually, where can they find this document or find the folder at?
That's a great question. Not that I know of that it's not located out there. They can get a hold of the senior linkage line if they're interested in that at 1-800-333-2433 and ask to have a file sent out to them. If not, they can contact you and to get a hold of me, and I can come in and do a presentation to a civic group, church organization, things in that order. We have A few of us in the area, Senior Linkage Line does this presentation, and so do we. So there'll be somebody there's in the 21 counties to do a presentation and to provide these folders. So good question, good questions.
Yeah, and I highly recommend if you are an organization that would like the presentation, at the end, I do have some contact information for Val. Please make sure to either get a hold of her or myself so that we will be able to get those out to you because it's a great document. We have a question for Jane. And it was about eligibility. Is any senior eligible for this service, or what was the eligibility? I don't know if we missed that, or if maybe I missed that.
Yes, it was 60 and older. And it was basically anybody who pays privately in a nursing home, but also really there's just basically one criteria that doesn't work, and that's a person on medical assistance with that's being followed by the county. So basically most 60 plus people are. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. All right, another question that came through. We have for the attorney. Does a power of attorney help when it comes to probate court?
No, because when you get to probate court, a person's already deceased. So we need to remember attorney, it stops when a person dies. So that's when we're doing, when you're thinking of estate planning, that's why I also advise clients to do a will and get that person representative, because when a person passes away, the power of attorney, it stops. That
Okay.
helps.
No, that's really good to know. That's very good to know. Okay. Lots of good questions. Okay. We have another one for Val here. Let's see. How do they apply? No, we already know that. Sorry about that, Val.
All right.
And you did answer where they could get the document from. So let's just move to Jane really quick because I'm trying to go into the order that they came in. Do you work closely with and I might say this wrong, the ombudsman? Ombudsman?
We work most closely with the social workers and people at the care centers and family members. The ombudsman, we talk about that if, for example, the person that was referred to us or their family member talks about a situation that is not resolved in the care at the facility. So we give that as a resource, basically.
Okay. Perfect. No, thank you for that. These are really good questions. Okay, I'll try to make sure that we have it quick because I want it to be able to show, we do have state support on, and they can show where you can find the documents of the power of attorney and the healthcare directive. So just give me 2 more seconds for some questions, and then we'll move on to state support really fast. The question for the attorney was, what do you advise clients to do? What do you advise a clients to do should a financial institution refuse to recognize a POA? I think that was answered in the chat.
And I think I answered that out loud too.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep. If it's legally executed, they shouldn't be denying it. So I'd say I gave our intake number on there too.
Perfect. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Let's see, is there? Oh, okay. And what if your area doesn't have an attorney available for legal aid and they are low income?
Almost a county in Minnesota have covered by legal aid. I know there's 20 counties covered.
I don't know if everybody else is freezing. I'm not sure if everyone is freezing at this time or if this is just me. I'm very sorry. Joy, can you repeat that one more time? Because it looks like everything froze and then came back. Can you repeat that answer?
Sure. I think there's a legal aid that covers every county in the state of Minnesota. So that shouldn't be a problem. Like our organization covers 22 counties in Northwest Minnesota.
I believe there's 6 different legal aids in the state of Minnesota. So the whole state is covered. Okay. Okay, so we will do state support. I think I have Amy on the line. Amy, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Amy, would you be able to show us Law Help MN? Could you give us a little whirl? Amy is from Legal Services State Support. And I may have just said that wrong, but awesome individual. Has been working with me in regards to legal kiosks, which is also an amazing thing that we have in our counties. We have 87 in our counties that we serve. Amy, if you could give us a little bit of information, I know we just have a couple of minutes left.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to be quick. So I am Amy Falbo. I'm an attorney with Legal Services State Support, and we work to improve understanding and access to the civil legal justice system for all Minnesotans. And so one way that we do that is through our website, lawhelpmn.org. I'm sharing my screen here, so hopefully you can see this here.
Yes.
So this is lawhelpmn.org, and we have over 175 different fact sheets about all sorts of different legal aid, or excuse me, about different common legal issues. I would like to show you specifically for the topics that we are talking about. If we go right up here and click on the self-help library, and we scroll down, these are all the different topics that we have fact sheets about. So if we go to planning ahead in elder law, you can see that we have information about wills and probate, powers of attorney, guardianship, and conservatorship. All of our fact sheets are written in plain language, which means it kind of takes all that legalese out of it so that it is able to be easily understood by everyone. You can get these in Spanish, Hmong, and Somali. And then you just click on each of the little topics here, and then you can get some information about whatever the topic of the fact sheet is. If somebody doesn't have time to read through all of it, you can also just grab a PDF of it here. So these topics within the self-help library are reviewed every year by attorneys to make sure that they are always current and up to date. Another thing I'd like to show you is if you scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says forms right here. These are our guided forms where you can do a short interview where you'll just type in your answers. It'll prompt you with the different things, and then it'll put all the information all together for you. So right here we have our healthcare directive. So you can read some information about it. You can start it and then save it and then come back and do it later, because it does ask some pretty serious questions that if you might need to take a break to finish. In addition to that, we have our power of attorney form. I apologize, I'm not sure who was going over it, but it is the fact sheet that we have about power of attorney was kind of at the top of the form that they were showing in the PDF. So this will just do kind of, rather than having you write everything out, it's an interactive guide, and it'll put everything together for you. And it'll also have a revocation of a power of attorney. So always a good thing to know where both of those things are at the same time. I can answer any questions that you have about Law Help. I can stay on for another minute if anybody needs it. Also, just want to point out, since there were questions about legal aid, the providers and clinic tab here. There are dozens of different legal aid organizations throughout Minnesota that handle different topics. So you can put a legal topic in here, search by county, and then if you hit search, then you can see organizations that will help you with that type of legal issue. Legal aid organizations do have eligibility criteria, so they're looking at income, maybe age, or disability status, if someone's a veteran, things like that. So when you're looking at the information that pops up of the different legal aid organizations, just make sure that you're looking through that to see if somebody you're referring to that organization, or if you yourself are applying, that you are eligible for services. There are also other attorney referral services for like low fee attorneys or lower cost attorney referral services as well. So those are just some of the information that's available that I can give in a quick 4-minute presentation.
No, that is perfect. Thank you so much for coming on today and helping us out. I want to give a huge thank you to all of our presenters that are here today, and being able to share about their organizations. If you want any more information in regards to any of our presenters, you definitely can give me an email or you can call me. You can use my QR code to be able to find out some more information. And if you would like to be a presenter at one of our other legal tables, feel free to let us know. Also, I want to make sure, I hope that I have everything correct, but I do have all of our different logos on here with phone numbers and some websites. If I am incorrect with one of the websites, please correct me, ladies, and please put the correct information on there. But as for right now, any other information that you need, please feel free to let us know. Thank you again to all our presenters, and thank you for staying a couple of extra moments to help us today. I hope you enjoyed your lunch, and we will be able to see you. Our next meeting is October 15th, and we'll be talking about protective orders. So if you have questions or if you would like to come to our next legal table, please make sure to go to our website and register for our next legal table for October 15th. Thank you guys again for everything, and you guys have a great Tuesday.